There used to be playoff series that felt like street fights, where every possession was a war, where every foul left a bruise, and where two teams could spend 48 minutes trying to beat each other without ever breaking eye contact. No rivalry captured that better than the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks in the 1990s. Before threes took over the league, before the pace sped up, before the game became beautiful, this rivalry was personal. It was angry. It was loud. It was everything the modern NBA no longer is. And in the middle of it all stood one man who refused to back down, Reggie Miller, the sharp-tongued, sharp-shooting villain who made Madison Square Garden his personal stage. This is the story of the rivalry that shaped the decade and the moment the Pacers finally broke the Knicks. In the early 90s, the Knicks weren't just good, they were terrifying. Patrick Ewing patrolled the paint like a lion. Charles Oakley turned screens into collisions. John Starks played as if every possession insulted his family. And Anthony Mason brought an intensity that belonged in a boxing ring, not a basketball court. The Knicks didn't win with finesse, they won with force. They dragged teams into the mud, slowed every game to a crawl, and dared opponents to match their toughness. Most couldn't. And for years, Indiana was one of them. The Pacers had talent, they had shooters, and they had Reggie Miller, a rising superstar with the heart of a prizefighter and a taste for big moments. But every spring, the Knicks slammed the door shut. In 1993, the Knicks beat the Pacers in 6. In 1994, they beat them again on their way to the finals. To Indiana, New York wasn't just a rival. New York was a wall standing between the Pacers and their NBA Finals dream. And Reggie Miller took that personally. Reggie wasn't built like other stars. He wasn't big, he wasn't explosive, he wasn't physically imposing, but he had the two things New York hated most: fearlessness and a jump shot that could end your season in a heartbeat. Reggie loved the Garden. He fed off the booze, the hatred, the spotlight, and when Spike Lee turned courtside into a one-man heckling show, Reggie didn't just respond, he elevated. Trash talk wasn't just something he did, it was a weapon, and in 1995, he finally got his chance to use it. The 1995 Eastern Conference semifinals were more than basketball. They were revenge. They were tension. They were years of heartbreak pressed into one series. Game 1 felt like a classic Knicks performance, physical, smothering, draining. For most of the night, New York seemed in control. Down 6 with less than 20 seconds left, most teams would have accepted defeat. But Reggie Miller was not most teams. What happened next is one of the most unbelievable sequences in NBA history. Reggie caught the inbound pass, turned around, and hit a deep three-point game. Then, on the Knicks inbound, Starks hesitated, and Reggie pounced, stealing the ball, stepping behind the line, and hitting another three. Tie game. Madison Square Garden was stunned. On the next Knicks possession, Starks missed 2 free throws. Ewing fouled Reggie on the rebound. Reggie hit both free throws, 8 points, 9 seconds, and the silence in Madison Square Garden was louder than any roar. Indiana stole Game 1 not with luck, but with something New York always believed they owned: mental toughness. That sequence didn't just win a game, it flipped the entire rivalry, and the Knicks responded exactly how you'd expect, where it's with force. Game 2 was violent in a way only 90s basketball could be. Bodies hit the floor, Starks and Miller jawed constantly. Oakley delivered screens that would be called felonies today. New York tied the series, but everything felt different now. Indiana knew the Knicks could be beaten, the wall could crack. Games 3 and 4 in Indiana were classics. Reggie hit dagger after dagger. Ewing battled in the post like a gladiator. Mark Jackson controlled the tempo. Smits played the best basketball of his life. Mason and Oakley tried to intimidate, but the Pacers no longer backed down. By Game 5, Madison Square Garden felt like a pressure cooker, and it all came down to the final minute. The Knicks led by 1. The crowd was deafening. The game felt like it belonged to New York, until Reggie touched the ball. With under 20 seconds left, Reggie curled off a screen, caught the ball, set his feet, and rose into the air. Swish. Pacers lead. The Garden fell silent once again. Ewing got one last chance. A clean baseline hook, one he had made hundreds of times, but this one rimmed out. Ball game, series, revenge, and for the first time, the Pacers walked off Madison Square Garden's floor having beaten the Knicks when it mattered most. The Knicks would never forget it, neither would the Pacers. This wasn't just a victory, it was liberation. Indiana finally beat the team that had tormented them for years. Reggie Miller cemented his legacy as one of the greatest clutch performers in NBA history, and the 1995 Pacers carved their place in the sports mythology as the team that toppled New York's mighty wall. In a decade defined by toughness, trash talk, and playoff violence, this rivalry stood above the rest. And in the middle of it all, and smiling, talking, and rising to every moment, was Reggie Miller, the villain New York didn't want, but the hero Indiana needed.